Good morning. It's Lisa Smith, Kindred Stitcher. I'm like, what's my channel name? It's Kindred Stitcher. This is June 14th. Welcome to my channel. It's a channel about cross stitch and all things about cross stitch, collecting cross stitch, stitching cross stitch, planning cross stitch stuff. It's been a few weeks and I've been busy. Let's just be honest. I feel like every video that's what I say. But the last time I talked with you was before Memorial Weekend, and we went to on a little vacation, my husband and I, to Wallowa Lake. That is in northeastern Oregon in the Eagle Cap Mountains. It's gorgeous. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend it. I put pictures on my Instagram stories, but I didn't put an Instagram post. Well, I got a wild hair girl hanging out there. My hair today, boy. If you haven't gone there, it's amazing. Oregon is so ecologically diverse and such a beautiful place to visit. If you had never been, it's a place to go. Boy, that hair is sprung back up, just like a spring in an old mattress. Anyway, well, this is not a channel about my hair freaking out. So we went to Wallowa Lake, had a great time. We went putt-putt golfing one day, and it's forested. So Wallowa Lake, the mountains are on the south side and the lake is on the north side, and it's a glacial lake. So the glacier pushed down into the earth, and at the north end, as the glacier was pushing out, it pushed material out and caused what's called a moraine. And so the backdrop, the south end, is these amazing, beautiful mountains, and it's very forested. And then as you go north through, there's a little town called Joseph. It's an artsy town, and as you go farther north, it's more open. It's almost like plains there. It's farmland. So pretty cool. We did putt-putt golf and ice cream one day. We hiked 2.5 miles up this mountain trail. We took a tram to the top of Mount Howard. It's the steepest gondola ride in the United States. It's yeah, so you're always looking like, if that cable snaps, I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna drop down, and we're gonna be like a snowball on Scooby-Doo or something. And by the time we get to the bottom of the mountain, so it's a little bit freaky, but it was fun. And we went to Mount Joseph one day and messed around, looked in the town. We went to the foundry. They have a bronze foundry there, but that place was closed. We didn't see that, but we went to the museum. We're a huge fan of going to local museums when we go on vacation. We went, let me get my notes here. I'm like, I wrote this stuff down for a reason. Oh, please. We went to the marina. There's a gorgeous campground in marina. We were going to go fishing, but we decided not to. And we did a barn tour. So this is cool. They have a map with historic barns in the area. There's a hexagonal barn that's amazing. I'll put pictures at the end of the video, but I wanted to see that. So we're just driving through the countryside, and sometimes it takes you down gravel roads. We're just looking at farms and barns, and the beautiful mountains are in the backdrop. It was cool. And one day we went to Hell's Canyon. So that is on the Snake River, which runs between Idaho and Oregon. And it was amazing. It was so beautiful. We followed the road down to the dam and checked out the dam. But across the river on the Oregon side, there's a viewpoint that is just breathtaking. It's amazing. The United States is pretty amazing. On our way back, we went through Baker City, and we went out to the Painted Hills. And this is like mountains that were made from layers of sediment, so they look like they're painted. Anyway, so I'll throw a picture of that in the end. The following weekend, I had a graduation. My niece graduated on Friday. It was awesome. And then we had a graduation party to go to on Saturday for her. So a lot of friend time, family time, so, just busy doing things. And my husband's still working on the house. I do get questions about that. He's finishing up the HVAC system. The electrical's done. He's doing the whole house ventilation next. That's a new thing. You have to have whole house ventilation. And the wood stove, he's got to get the pipe in for that, the chimney pipes. So Once that's done, we have the framing inspection. He's met with insulation people, the sheetrockers, and once the framing inspection goes, then the insulation can go in, and then the sheetrock. Oh my gosh, the sheetrock. So if we get through that point and the siding done this year, I'll be super happy, be ecstatic. Hopefully we get some painting done too. I told my husband there's just no moving in until we get the painting done. There's no reason to move anything in. It's just going to be moving stuff around to paint around it. And we're going to see if we can get a temporary occupancy permit. We're going to move our kitchen in from the tiny house, set it up as temporary. And we'll probably do the kitchen next January. But we'll do at least, I don't know if all the bathrooms have to be done or not. But we'll finish one bathroom this year too. So we have that. And then get the power to the house. So there's a lot to do still, but he moves along. Like my husband he works on it all the time, 6 days a week, I'd say. And sometimes he gets more done than others. He gets stopped sometimes because he doesn't know the next step, but he is so resourceful. And he does a great job of building relationships with people who can help him. And he's also super handy and he helps other people. So it works out for us. All right, let's talk about cross stitch. Yeah, I know that hair is like bugging me. It's sticking straight up. So today, Todd and I went to breakfast. And then we'd like to try a different breakfast place. And we got home and he has a little garden area. And my mom gave us a raspberry, a loganberry, and maybe a marionberry plant last year. So we planted them, but the weeds were kind of hanging around. They got pretty tall. So this morning I went out there and there was some more poison oak in there. Ooh. So I'm super careful around that. But I went and weeded everything out. And when I did that, even though it's pretty dry here, my hair is like a coat. It comes down in my face, right? And then I kind of sweat and then it gets curly and then it becomes bushy and it starts to get a little unwieldy. I feel like it got some weeds in my hair. Anyway. All right. So let's talk about what I've been working on. I have some finishes because it's been so long since my last video. I think it's been 3 weeks, a little more than 3 weeks. So I was most of the way done, I think, on this one. Sorry, I got my hair in my eyeball, which is Faith, Hope, Peace, Love by Teresa Kogut. I did a conversion on this, and I will share with you the changes. So this isn't that gorgeous fabric? This is Fox and Rabbit Eucalyptus. It's a bluish greenish color. It's not really, it's super blue. It's not super green. And these colors are different than what Teresa charted. If I took the colors that Teresa charted and I put on this fabric, they're more of a primitive color and they just fell flat on this fabric. They looked great on the fabric Teresa did stitch the model in, but they didn't work on this fabric. So I did a complete conversion. And these are the changes that I made. So I'm going to give you the color list and I'm going to walk through this and tell you where I've changed some colors. So she had charted Barn Door. I used Gentle Arts Cranberry. She had Colonial Rose and I used, I think it was Classic Colorworks Tennessee Red Clay. She used Pine Needles by Classic Colorworks. I used a dark green silk that I had in my stash. I think it's a Silks for You silk, but any kind of a darker blue green would work. Her Hazelnut Brown 422 DMC, I used that. That's the color of the house. There is 611 DMC. I used it, but I did tend to sub out some of that because it wasn't my favorite on this fabric. But 611 is difficult to match on a conversion. The green grass, the kind of medium green color, I used Holly Leaves by Victorian Motto. And there were 3 Weeks colors, light khaki, Havana, and Swiss chocolate that I kept the same. And then she had a darker Weeks that was bark, and I used Grapevine by Weeks instead. So going up the pattern here, all of this down here is the same. The house, I'm going to come in a little bit closer. So the house, the way she charted it, it was alternating, like there would be, it's almost like siding on a house where it would be a few rows stitched and then blank. because her fabric was straw. It was essentially the same as the background, very similar to the color of the house. She didn't have to stitch in. Well, I didn't want a blue and yellow striped house. So what I did is I did 2 or 3 rows and I sand stitched them. Then I did a row of regular cross stitch. And that's how I achieved sort of a clapboard sided look to the house. Okay, so that's the same color. I liked the 422 when it's surrounded by a different color. Where it's just by itself on this fabric, I didn't love it, but it was used sparingly the rest of the chart. All of this is the same symbol as is called for in the pattern. Here, I changed the flowers to Tennessee red clay, and then the outline and the inner border I changed to cranberry. I think it would call for 611. I had several skeins of Tennessee red clay, and there was one that was lighter, and I kind of used it to create highlights in some of the flowers. So it's not a different color, but it's just a skein that is a little bit lighter. All of the borders are the same as was charted. Over here, this flower, I think the buds or the little flowers on the outside were one of the brown colors, and I used the cranberry. This is Havana. I think this was all charted to be green. I changed this to Havana. This up here was all to be the 422, and I did some of them in Tennessee red clay. And all of this border is the same. These leaves took a long time because there's a lot of them on there. The gentleman, I changed his breeches and his belt to be the darker brown to make it look like he had pants. It was the 2 colors of brown that were initially charted by Teresa. My skeins didn't have enough contrast, so it kind of looked the same. So I just took his breeches out and made him a different color, and his belt. Let's see. I love the way her dress turned out. It's fantastic. I changed the cat. I had stitched the cat that was in the 422, and it was very ghosty. I did not love it. I stitched the rest of the top part before I went back and changed it to bark, and I just love it because I have a little black kitty, and then I have a tortie kitty too. So this was perfect. These two are Mabel and Hazel. The dog is 611. Looks fine. I wanted them all to look different. And this cat, these are 2 different colors, but they look similar. The flowers here, I changed the inside from the yellow, the 422 to the Tennessee red clay. And again, these flowers are the same as down here. I think that's most of the changes that I made. So I love this. Couldn't be happier with the way it came out. This is very much my color palette and will go in my house. I'm gonna put a dark frame, like a dark chocolatey brown frame on this one. Should make it pop really nice. So that was a big finish, and I worked diligently on that since the last video to get that done. I was super excited to have it done. Now I popped right over to the next project. I can't remember if I showed this on my, I think I did have some progress on this one since the last time I showed you. I can't remember if it was on that video or not. Might have been the one before. I finished Fragments in Time 2023 by Summer House Stitchworks, and this is, I didn't iron it, sorry, it's got my Q snap marks on it. This is on 40 count vintage pecan butter, my favorite, all-time favorite linen, and it is so pretty. It's kind of, sorry, it needs to be squared up here, and probably I'll frame this in a plain frame because this is such a busy piece with a lot of lacy qualities to it that it just wants something simpler on the outside. I changed the red, was Chili Peppers by, I think it was a General Arts, Chili Peppers. I changed it. Nope, it was a Classic Colorworks. Chili Peppers is what it's called for. And I changed it to Gentle Art Ruby Slipper, the red. So it's more of a redder red. And then the central dividing band, I changed the colors. The 2 that were called for were Bean Sprout was the green, And instead of the pink, it was the blue, the Dublin blue. And I changed it to Loden by Weeks, which is one of the threads in the palette, and Rose Petal is the pink that I chose. It softens it up a lot. So this was just an absolute pleasure to stitch. Karen from up north, she is in the Sampler Guild, the Pacific Northwest Sampler Guild. I think she runs it. She's very involved. She had worked on this last year, and I was inspired to start it when I saw her start. I knew it was something that I wanted to stitch. I loved them all when they came out. They're individual patterns. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I didn't stitch them in order of 1 through 8 on my fabric. I switched the order around, and I'm going to hold on to these because these, as you can see, they're finished. They're beautiful. And I think the year that I went to market with Michelle Rudy from Farm Girl, we saw these in Beth's room, and they're gorgeously done. I want to say they were maybe velvet on the back, and they have a bit of sparkle. It's almost like a Christmas look to them. They're very rich patterns. So that was exciting to get that done. And here is my last finish. Now, I worked on this when I was at the Farm Girl Dry Goods Retreat. It is Violetta Heart by Samplers Not Forgotten. It's a kit. I did a terrible job of punching on the top. Somebody had one in their bag. I was like, oh, I need to punch these. It might have been, was it Barb Austin Floss maybe? She had one. Or Valerie Stitching in the Barn. I'm not sure. Anyway, I borrowed their punch, and I did a terrible job. I had to punch some things a couple times. But this was all jacked up, I thought. And it wasn't that bad. So I went in and fixed it. I had come around here, and this was not matching down here. And I found out that I had misstitched over here, which caused me to be off by a thread. So I had to go back up, and then this met. And then I finished it, and isn't it so pretty? I don't have a lot of purple in my house in my stitch things, but I like a little bit. And I think this is so feminine. Again, I didn't iron this. And I might just throw this in the mail and send it to Faye Rigsby to finish. I've got a ton of stuff I could send to her. She'd be busy for a while working on my things, I think. Now, so those are the 3 finishes I had. And I have a few more that aren't too far from being done that I still might wait to work on until maybe in the fall, because I have some other things, other stuff in the queue that I've picked up. Okay, so first of all, there is a, I didn't want that. Where did that go? Over here. Hold on. Sorry. Talking to myself, but talking to you too. So there is a GGR Sal. You know who GGR is, I hope. She's got lots of patterns. I showed in my last video, I think I showed a little chart parade for her pieces. And I decided to start, oops, sorry for shaking you there, with Susie Q. Let me get this right. People hosting the sale are Susie Q Runs with Needles, Helen Houtchen, Houtchen, and Jody's Stitching Adventure, all on Instagram. They started a GGR sale in June. And you can start and work on any GGR pattern that you have and you want to work on. I have another one that I'm going to pick up and hopefully work on soon, which is Rosary Sampler. What I decided to start, and here's my bag. Here's my laundry baskets quilt fabric. Oh, I just love her fabric. It's so gorgeous. I am starting the polka dot cow sampler. And I just can't even with this pattern. I love it so much. It does have some freehand stuff, and I decided my strategy is going to be to stitch all the cross stitch first and then come in and do the specialty last, because some of it's like satin stitch or long stitch, and I just don't want it to be trapped under my Q-snap for a long period of time. So that's how I'm going to approach this. Here are the tons of threads. Again, lovely Lisa colors, let me tell you. So many good pinks, reds, golds, a little bit of green. Love it. And this is how far I got. I stitched for a few days on this, and I did the whole border. And I wanted to do it, and this reminds me of Ann Dale, this border. It's sort of a wavy Greek key. But in the chart, she tells you, pay attention to the border on the side and on the top. So I started down here. I read the instructions first, and then I looked closely at the pattern, and this was a consistent repeat on the bottom. And then I got to, and this is actually the side I started on, because I started on the grass a little bit. And then I went to this side, and this side was also a consistent repeat, no problems. And then I came over here to do this side, and I looked at the top too. I'm like, oh, here's something that's different. And I went through and circled all the stuff in my pattern that I needed to pay attention to. Then I caught that maybe instead of 3 stitches on one side, there's 4. So I highlighted all those, and I started working up the side, and I'd already stitched all the way up here, but I couldn't see because my Q-snap was like, this was all under the Q-snap. And I got to the top, and I took it out of the Q-snap and looked, and I'm like, that doesn't match. I could tell this was up here and this was like down here. Like, there's a problem. So I had to count and recount and stitch and restitch a few times to get this side correct. And then I did the top, and it matched. So I was happy with that progress. It feels good to have that done, so I don't have to worry as I go whether or not things are in the right place. That's going to be a long project. It's going to take a while. In my WIP spreadsheet, it is an XXL. It's a 2XL project. So after that, you would think, she must be done. But I wasn't. Oh, God, I did a bug here. Gross. I decided to pull out my Patriotic things. Now, I usually start stitching Patriotic around March or April. Patriotic stitching is my favorite by far. I love it. And I know Vanessa Flamefingers loves it too, because every time she starts something, I want to start it. And every time I start something, she wants to start it. So we're the Co-Enablement Foundation. This next one that I pulled out of my WIP pile is American Sampler by Plum Street. And so I did Patriotic Stitch Mania in 2020 and started 31 projects, and this was one of them. I don't have many left from that Patriotic Stitch Mania. I've done most of them. A lot of them were small. This, I think, is like a medium pattern for me, the way I have it categorized now. The thing about Paulette's stuff is she has a lot of stitching on her patterns. So this bottom part is going pretty quickly. I had done some of the letters, and I haven't done anything since 2020. I hadn't picked this up. And it's not because I didn't want to. It's just that I had other things that I was being squirreled away at. So I have made quite a bit of progress. I finished all the lettering. So it says, give me a calm and thankful heart from every murmur free. The blessings of thy grace impart, preserve our liberty. Sic semper tyrannis. And I've started on the grass and the fencing here, and I've decided I'm going to stitch up to the top here so I can stitch all of this along the way, and I don't have to, I'm probably gonna have to move my Q-snap, but I don't have to then feel like, oh, I'm gonna stitch for days nothing but grass, because nobody loves that, let's be honest, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to just go ahead and move this direction. And it's going to take some time to get it done, but it's not, I think comparing it to Live on Little, it's smaller than Live on Little. And it's smaller than real comfort. That one was huge, and it was like 3 houses. But I love this one. It's very fun. I'm excited to be back to my patriotic stitching. I just had some other things that I wanted to work on this year. All right. Let me move that over there. I have a few other pieces that I think I'm going to pull out in between now and July. So these are what's left of my 2020 Stitch Mania that I have not finished. The first one is Summer at Cherry Hill by Brenda Gervais. Now, I thought when I pulled this out, actually, let me pull one of my boards back up off the floor here, it'll be easier. And don't you love this? This was from Vintage Blessings on Instagram. I bought that from them. So my patriotic stuff is in there. This, I thought that this, because the green grass and the beehive are sort of blendy, right? They sort of kind of match. And I was going to pull out the grass and use a darker green. But then these little plants that are in here won't show up if I use the darker green. So I decided I'm going to continue with the green across, and then I'm just going to do an outline, maybe in the color toffee, to just give it a little definition so you'll see it a little bit better. And then I want to pull any of my threads out, which I love. But there's a lot of stitching in this. My friend Lori, textilist, and a lot of other people have done this, but Lori did this one. She's like, oh, it takes a while to get this one done. The dress goes on a ways. I'm sure the grass goes on a ways. So that one is in my 2-stitch pile this summer. And what else is in my bag? I do feel like since 2020, maybe how I approach my projects has evolved and changed for the better. I can look at something now and say, oh yeah, that conversion isn't working. You know, why isn't it working, and kind of figure it out. So this one, I don't know why I didn't get back to this one either, is Salt Box Quilt Sampler by Brenda Gervais. And I just have this stitch down here, and I was worried that you couldn't really see the 2 DMCs very well, but I think it's fine. And the fact that it doesn't have stark contrast is fine too. So I'm going to keep working on this. This looks like it must be a Teresa Vanette fabric. I don't know. She's got the little safety pin on it. I'd have to look at my spreadsheet to see what fabric this is, but this one is really calling to me. I can't wait to get back in and start working on that one. So that one I'll be working on in the next month. And then the last one is, oh, what is this? Oh, I think this is the thread for, I need to put I've tried to put little tags on here to say what my threads belong to, so there's no need for Lisa to guess anymore. This is the first one. This is this one, Summer at Cherry Hill. That's the thread for that. Now, this last one that's in my bag is You're a Grand Old Flag. My friend Donna from Stitching in the She Shed, she finished this, and she and I and Jean picked out threads and fabric at Country Sampler when we were there the very first time we stayed there. And so I have quite a few of those threads. They were clearing out their bell swaths, so we bought clearance packs and just did a conversion from those threads. I think I've since confiscated some of those threads and put them in other projects, but this is how far I am. And I want to say it might actually go this way. It's probably upper left. I think it was an upper left start. The silks are so beautiful. This is vintage pearl barley when you could get it. We got it from Country Sampler when we were there. It's been probably 7 years ago. And so I'm going to work on that because it won't get done this year, but it won't stitch itself. That's for sure. So I'll probably do some stitching on that. Now, that is the stuff I've worked on, and then what I'm going to work on, except I have a couple more starts planned. I know, right? I finish one, I start one. I finish one. I feel like Anna from Stitch Ready. Finish a prairie sampler, start a prairie sampler. Well, I just finish any whip and I'll start a new whip. This one I showed you in a previous video, and I really, really, really like it. It is Sweet Liberty Sampler by Lori Rippey. I bought some silks for You Silks, and I've used them on several projects. There's a blue that's a medium blue that I love. I've used it on Prize Your Liberty. I've used it in several pieces. It's a gorgeous blue. It's not knock your socks off royal blue, but it's not navy either. It's a great blue for patriotic stitching, and a red that's a little more vibrant red. And so if I think about it, I always get questions about which number they are, because people go into the Etsy site and look for it. So I will put it in the drop down below. You can decide if you're going to purchase those. This, okay. I'm dying for this. I'm going to start this on 4th of July. The Ocean Blue Stocking, Kathy Barrick. I went to Acorns and Threads and bought the silks for this, the NPI silks. I had some, and I bought this fabric. I showed you, I think in my last video, at Country Sampler. And I haven't done it. I have not done a floss toss yet on this, but this is Boston by Seraphim fabric. And I think this is what I'm going to stitch it on. So I'm looking forward to that and starting it. After I stitch the Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow, I have been thinking about Kathy Barrick patterns and which one I want to do next. So this is definitely going to be my next start. And you know, I just start big things. I just decided it's what I love. I like little things too, but I just love big projects. And I'm not sad for that. And then the second thing I'm going to start probably in July is, this is from Kitten Stitcher's Advent box from last year. It's Samplers Not Forgotten, Home for Christmas 1822. So it's a beautiful white house, very simple and classic, red door. And I decided that I'm going to stitch it on this 40 count coral. It is just, I got it off a D-Stash page. It was it's a Lakeside. And that's a really pretty color. Very Coral is a perfect name for it. 40 count coral by Lakeside. I bought the Gloriana, this is poinsettia. I'm going to use this for the door. And then I just picked up from Kitten Stitcher, Antique Dark Gray is in there. I have the vanilla, I think I have the other 3 skeins. I think there's a total of 5. But that's going to be my Christmas in July that I'm going to stitch. So I will be starting that. And I want to say thank you to a viewer who won one of my previous giveaways, and I sent her a package. She's in Australia, and she's like, you're probably not going to send this to me because I live in Australia. I'm like, yeah, if you want to buy more stuff, I'll just throw it in the box. So she went to Acorns and Threads online, ordered some things, and had it sent to my house. And then I put everything and shipped it to her in Australia. And she had them, Acorns and Threads. Did I show you this last time? I can't remember. Maybe I did. But I just wanted to say thank you again. She gave me the little Emmeline Perline, is that how you say the name? Purnell. Emmeline Purnell. And a scissor fob. Cute. And then this, which I've been using, I don't know where it went. A thread bed made out of laundry basket quilt fabric. So I was ecstatic for that. So just thank you very much. You know who you are. And I also want to say thank you to Mary. Mary bought a project bag for me, and we had a question about another person who claimed a different project bag, so I sent her another one. Sent her 2 project bags, and she sent me a thank you, and this card is so adorable. And she also sent me a thank you gift card to Acorns and Threads. So I used that when I went to Acorns and Threads to buy the silks for the Kathy Barrick stocking. So thank you, Mary. I truly appreciate it. It's very kind and generous of you. Nobody ever has to do that. You're not, I mean, I'm not expecting it, but thank you. It was very sweet of you to do that. And I have just a little bit of haul, not a ton. I did go thrifting, and I found this music box. So this particular manufacturer, I have seen the round boxes and the square boxes, and you can take this out and put a cross stitch in. I know that they were at Stitchville, and I got it at a thrift store for $10. So I was like, yes, I will take that. It's a beautiful music box. I'm not sure what the name of the song is that it plays. Let me see. It's pretty. For $10, who cares what it plays, right? So this pops out, and you can put your artwork in there, and so this can be a stitched piece, and that's what I bought it for $10. Why not? At Acorns and Threads, I also picked up a Manny Di Donna piece of fabric. It's 40 count Halloween evening, and I picked up another piece of her fabric when I was at Stitchery Express in Salt Lake. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful fabric for sure. It kind of looks like it's got lines in it, but it doesn't. I think it's just a shadow of not being ironed. It doesn't look like that when it's flat. So it's a beautiful Halloween Eve is perfect for it. It's kind of a grungy. It's got a slight little bit of purple. It's a taupe. It's a tan. A little bit of white. It's a great fabric. And also, I bought one of those Gloriana silks from Kitten Stitcher, and then bought these 2 patterns. Oops, these 2 patterns. Nope, I guess it goes that way. Yeah, it does. It's just that one has a banner at the top and one at the bottom. So these are definitely, I'm thinking of ways maybe I can stitch these all in a row. I'll wait for the other 2 to come out. And also at Acorns and Threads, I bought this. This was in her sale box. She has several sale box items in the annex right now. I have hunted and hunted and hunted for my copy of this pattern. I don't know where it is. It's probably one of the totes out in the shop. But it's been on my mind because every time I go to Country Sampler, I see it on the wall and think, I should stitch that dang thing. And I am going to, here's the antique. I am going to do a conversion on this. So I wake up dreaming about this pattern. I don't know why, but that one is, maybe that'll be an August start. And then the primitive needle, people have been, wanting those patterns for a long time. The owner artist passed away, and her daughter is now publishing these, and you can get them from their website. And I found out somebody said that on their channel. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Olivia Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. So I bought this one, which is Witch's Hollow. I think that one is adorable. And I bought this one, Blackened Sky. So I'm not a big Halloween stitcher. I do some, but I do like those. And then last, so I watched this on PBS twice and then bought the series. It is Miss Austen. You know I'm a Jane Austen fan. On PBS, this is told from the point of view of Jane Austen's sister, Cassie. And there are several letters that Cassie burned after her sister died. So although we have been blessed with books from Jane Austen, there's material that was never published and we'll never see because they're gone. And it tells the stories about what happens and after the death of Jane, and there's flashbacks to the history that they have. in their lives. It was a fantastic series. Like I said, I liked it so much I bought it. And yes, I'm one of the last people on earth who still uses DVDs, because there's parts of my last house that didn't get good coverage, and I didn't want to pay for another box to stream my videos or stream TV. So I just use a DVD player. So tomorrow's Father's Day. If you're a father, or you celebrate Father's Day, happy Father's Day to you. I hope to do some sewing today. I'm gonna do some stitching. I'm gonna do some sewing, and yep. So that's what's on my plate. I will see y'all in a couple of weeks. Thanks for stopping by and checking in with me. Thanks for staying with me while I was picking out the stray hairs that are driving me crazy. Have a good one, everyone. Take care. Bye.